doing? I hope you're well. Welcome to my channel. If you are new, my name is TK Hlongwane. If you're a regular, thank you so much for stopping by. I really appreciate it. I am so tired. Today I want us to talk about our bodies as women, and whether we're really in tune with it. And I want us to really have a conversation about this. Like, what have you learned about your body as you grow? Do you listen to it? And, especially when it comes to our menstrual cycle, I think our understanding of our menstrual cycle is just more on how much we hate it in terms of, the actual time when you're on your period, whatever that phase is called. And, the inconvenience in terms of what you wear and all of that for others, that kind of thing. I think that's what we focus on, and how I feel society has made it seem like it's a dirty phase in your, menstrual cycle and everything like that. I want to talk about how every part of the cycle affects us emotionally, physically, and everything like that. So I'm PMSing, right? So it's not my periods yet. And I've noticed that people often talk about PMSing correctly. It is before you actually, go on your periods. And I must say, I've only paid attention to my body since I was diagnosed with fibroids in 2019 and before, when I saw the changes in my body. Otherwise, I don't think I was really aware of it. So today, woke up exhausted. And I paid attention to what was happening in my body yesterday already, because my boobs started getting very sore. And even when I'm working out, I can feel like bouncing is painful, and touching my boobs is painful. It's part of PMS. But then today's that stage when you're just exhausted. I'm so exhausted, as if I have run a race, like a hectic race, and I used to run. So I remember how I used to feel, where everything is just sore and I'm tired, and all I want, and this was my thing, I would go and to Spar and buy a boer of Oslo. That would be my lunch after running, and then chilling on my couch or on the bed with my feet elevated. So yeah, I'm getting ready. I've got a meeting now with my team, and I want to talk about it when we're done. Okay, so yeah, then I have a meeting now with my team online. Hopefully I don't take too long because I want to be out of here, and then I'll be driving to my stores. But yeah, let's talk about it. I hope whatever I'm going to discuss today will be of interest to you guys, and you can tell me where you are. I also want us to talk about masculine and feminine energy, and yeah, all those kind of things, and working. Like this thing, like guys, I'm thinking about it a lot, and I'm like, where were we going? You know what I'm saying? Anyway, we'll chat later.
Concerned about the ongoing
what's happening here? So I was saying earlier on about how, I appreciate that after I had my fibroids diagnosed and I saw changes in my body, I started paying more attention to my body. And I also remember, prior to having my fibroids out and even being diagnosed, I attended a workshop by Kagiso Msimang. I've told you guys about her. She's an author. And she had this workshop or retreat something like that, called womb healing, which was amazing. I learned so much about our bodies and what every phase of our menstrual cycle really means, I mean, I don't remember everything, but I remember, for instance, like I said, I am PMSing now, and I'm tired, my body's sore. So that's the physical part, right? And then, in a week and a half, then my periods will start. And then I'll have those few days of my periods. And then after that, it will be, ovulation and stuff like that. So she was talking about the different aspects of those phases and what they mean, And then I got to understand how certain religions or even certain ethnic groups worldwide request women to take part or not take part in certain activities during their menstrual cycle. So for instance, I know there's a lot of churches where they say when a woman is on their periods, they shouldn't come to church, It's not that case, life goes on with us, but I know Mazayoni, correct me if I'm wrong, a lot of my family are Mazayoni. I know when there's been church events and stuff, they would not be allowed to take part. And at the time, usually they say people bangolile, they're dirty, which I do not agree with. However, now that I see that, it is such a good time during that time that you are not with people or too many people, because how our energy is, Kahiso even made this example that during your menstrual time, like when you are bleeding, generally we are our most honest. That's why people will say you're moody or you said something. She says you are at your rawest, the realest self. So anything that you usually say during the period has some element of truth to it. That's where we are our boldest, and everything like that. They even say that time is a time where you should be working on those ideas because you are less fearful during that time. I wish I could find that book that, after the workshop she gave us. I can't find, but there's so many things I learned about that. And then pre-period time, this time I forgot, I'll put the name here, like what that phase is called. I'm sure you guys know it. I forget these names. Like now is, that time where you are tired and everything like that. It also has its own meaning, of what it means. And it's also very important that at that time, you don't really take part in some of the things. It's a creative process and everything like that. It's just amazing. I mean, somebody said online the other day that, ovulation time is a good time for you to give those ideas out, to pitch an idea, and everything like that. I just find it also fascinating. But more than anything, what really triggered me or made me want to record this video was about really listening to our bodies and how maybe the things that we were meant to do back in the days or not take part in was really relevant. But us, the women of today, we want to go out there and work. But I was thinking this morning that today would not have been a good day to work, because also what was tricky about today, waking up tired, I'm fine now, I had to take some energy stuff so that I can be okay, because life has to go on, is that on this day, for instance, feeling this way, I have to tap in a lot into my masculine energy. You know what I'm saying? I have to make decisions. I had a meeting this morning with my team. I'm giving instruction, that is a very masculine energy. I'm talking sales, I'm talking strategies, I'm talking all those kind of things. To have to do those things on a day where I am at my most feminine, vulnerable, it's really tricky, and it makes sense. The things of old make sense now if you are paying attention to it, because honestly, we really shouldn't be being out and above in certain parts of our menstrual cycle because of how we are, So it would be interesting to hear from you guys that if you are intuitive in that way with your body, or it's just you pay more attention to your PMSs and the things that you crave, or the day of your periods where, you're bleeding and everything like that. What happens? There's a joke online about, I really, after 20 or whatever, 40 years, I can't believe that like the day before my periods always catches me by surprise. Like I'll be asking myself, I'm so tired, I'm exhausted, I'm irritable, and then the next day you start your periods and it's like, that makes sense, and everything. I just find it very fascinating how our bodies work and how we've just, as women, just let it be like that's how it is and we move on. But I think we should be playing more into that. Later, I want us to talk about this business of working, if it's working for us. Anyway, see you. So it is the next day. Yesterday was just a longish day. I was in traffic rather until for over an hour. Got home after 6 and it was dark to record and my ring light is broken. I was just not in the mood. So here we are the next day and I'm off, hence I look so plainly cute. And I just want to finish off this conversation. I think I last said I wanted to talk about us working. You know, there's a lot of benefits to working. I love making my own money. I will always choose that over anything else. If I was in a relationship, then whatever the man gives me is definitely nice and a bonus. But you know, it's nice. There's a huge difference between making your own money and having to depend on someone. So I get that. And I've been self-employed as well. And someone might say, maybe work is getting to you because you're working for someone else, or, you know, versus working for yourself. I think there's pros and cons on each, you know, and all of that. But I just think of the way the corporate structure is set up in terms of, you know, the expectations, what to do and everything like that. And how people who work in corporate are just very stressed, like really. You know, there's a friend of mine who is... my friend who is a nail technician, obviously, when I go into my nails, we chat and everything like that. And she always look forward to the stories because it's like me and the rest of her clients, we have such similar stories, especially if it's corporate girlies, you know, and everything. And even though you try to balance between work and life, it gets tricky. It's very blurry, no matter how you try to balance it out. You know, I don't know. Whoever has the solution or, you know, anything to it, let us know, because we need to find out, you know. And even though you can love your job and the environment or whatever, but trick at some point, you know, because it takes a lot out of a person. Then I don't know, people who are not in corporate and working in other kinds of structures, how it is. And you always laugh, and when I see people like on social media, sometimes it could be an influencer who's still in corporate, and they be like, "You can't believe that we chose to work." And not because women are lazy or anything. Women have always worked, even though it might not be in a corporate structure, but you work whether you're working at home or whatever. So it's not from a point of laziness. There's just something about it that you realize that it was meant for men. You know what I'm saying? That whole thing of you just need to get up and go, and keep it moving, which as women, we're very sensitive and intuitive. And what I mean is that, you know, when you go through something, even though you might snap out of it eventually, but you want to go through the motions and everything like that. Where men, I think it's like, it's done, go, and everything like that. You know, it's tricky. So yeah, I'll ask myself about those things, but also based on our bodies. I mean, for women who struggle with endometriosis, let me not use that word, forgot that word, you know, when it comes to bleeding heavily during their periods, a lot of pain and all of that kind of stuff. What happens, you know, is sick leave apply for those kind of things. I'm not one of them. Luckily for me, it's just PMS. During my periods, I'm perfectly fine. There's no issues. But the work environment doesn't really allow for something like that, you know, no matter how progressive your work environment can be. I mean, if you really struggle with that, the chances are somebody's going to tell you, why don't you get it sorted? You know, you've got medical aid, sort yourself out kind of thing, because what? The show must go on. So yeah, I've been asking myself a lot about that. No, I'm not about to quit. You know, I'm very privileged in terms of work and stuff like that. So no, it's not about that. I'm just asking about work versus women, because I'm here to find a woman who is telling us that, you know what, this is truly what they want to do, and everything like that. I think even if I was retired, I would find something productive to do. So it's not a matter of just lazing around and anything like that, but it would be just about the structure and what it was made for us and everything like that. Yeah, I think a lot. That's me. Overthinker, but thinker. Try to question things, how they are. But the biggest thing, like in terms of why I started this video, was about our bodies. And I feel like as women, we're not even aware as much. We don't like what happens to our body throughout the menstrual cycle, but how powerful our bodies are. Superpowers, really. I mean, the most fascinating thing has to be the fact that when you live in a place where there's a group of women, even when you don't live there, even if in a work environment, your periods will eventually synchronize. I mean, I've seen this in a work environment and when I work at the counter. Menlin for Mag, and we would, you'd have your period today, someone else tomorrow has, if you live in the same house as well, that's the same story. And I think that's just very, very, what's the word? What is the word? Whatever that word is. Like, I'm just amazed that we are able to do that, What kind of conversations are mothers having with their children? Is it when your child goes on their periods, it's more about, okay, they telling you about what it means. Usually they'll talk about if you have sex, you're gonna have a baby. They'll talk about, keeping yourself clean and everything like that. But I don't think there's more to it that is spoken about where the menstrual cycle is concerned, because we don't know ourselves, and I think it's very important that we as women get to know our bodies better. I mean, menopause will also make you get to know your body better. There's a lot of things that are changing. I mean, I see with myself, losing weight was the easiest things for me in the past. Not that I would lose weight easy, but once I'm focused on losing weight and whatever, I will stick to a plan. Now it's the hardest thing to do. It's the hardest. I try, and I know I'll get it right eventually back, because I do want my body back, I just feel better in a lighter body. But it's just so weird how looking at my body change, I'm like, what? I never thought this would happen to me. Anyway, that's that. I feel like I'm going on and on and on. But yeah, I find our bodies fascinating. Let me know. Let's have a whole conversation about women and their bodies, emotions, our superpowers, and all that jazz. I hope you've enjoyed this video. Please do give it a thumbs up, leave a comment, and subscribe if you have not done that. This is TK Hlangwane, and this is a beauty and wellness channel with a little bit of lifestyle.